The Deputy Chief Justice Raymond Zondo has sent a strong warning to those who are believed to be compromising the Commission's work with two recent incidents. Last week, a bullet was found in one of the offices in Braamfontein after it was shot through the window. This weekend, two laptops were stolen from the building. Zondo says police are investigating both of these incidents. The State Capture Commission has heard months of evidence implicating senior political and business leaders in alleged corruption.
Anybody is trying to intimidate the Commission into not doing its job properly, they must know that the Commission will not be intimidated. The men and women who keep this Commission going every day, who dedicate a lot of extra hours to its work in the evenings and over weekends, including Sundays, Saturdays, Sundays, who sacrifice to make sure that we have evening sessions here, are very determined that the work of this Commission will be completed. I certainly will not be intimidated by anybody into not finishing this work in the way it should be finished.
Now, for more on this story, I'm joined by Hennie van Vurren, the director of the organization Open Secrets. Mr. van Vurren, thank you very much for your time today. What do you make of the recent incidents relating to security breaches at the State Capture Commission offices? You'd have known about the bullet that was fired through a window that was found in the offices, and then this past weekend, two laptops being stolen. Do you believe that the security there is enough, or should it have been beefed up?
Fanny, thank you, and good afternoon. I certainly think that it is worrying for two reasons. The one is clearly there is an attempt, it seems, to apply pressure on the Zondo Commission when it's in a very important phase, not only of wrapping up some sensitive processes around calling witnesses, but obviously also drafting a report which is scheduled to be handed to the President only in a matter of months. So I think this is the time when people who want their hands on that kind of information would do the things that might be happening right now. But I think to your question whether enough was done in terms of security, this is the hard question that I think should be asked of the spokespeople and frankly of Judge Zondo, Professor Musala and others. I think civil society is broadly in support of the Zondo Commission, but a crucial question is this: if we've spent hundreds of millions of rands on ensuring that this important work that the Commission needs to undertake is well resourced, how on earth is it possible that somebody broke into a building with a relatively tight security? This is after the incident which suggests that a bullet was shot at the offices, and were able to, it almost seems, waltz into the building and take out two laptops. I mean, it beggars belief. The question is, why were those laptops not secured in the first place in the building? Why were they not kept in a safe? What data was in that laptop? What is the likelihood of those laptops to be able to be cracked? Are they sure that there's proper security that's put in place? Now, those are the questions that are not being asked of the Zondo Commission, and frankly, it is responsible for maintaining the security of that equipment, and I think it needs to answer to the public how this came about, who is being held responsible, and how we can be ensured that there won't be a recurrence of this type of event.
The next obvious question leading on from that is whether or not those two laptops that were stolen were the sole custodians of the information contained therein. For a commission of that magnitude, one would believe that there might be an off-site server somewhere that would be able to preserve information in the event of such situations happening. But as civil society groups, what measures or steps will you be taking in this regard, if any?
Yeah, thanks, Tommy. And I think, firstly, the Commission is dealing with, as they say, terabytes of information. So it's far more information that can be kept on one laptop. And very clearly, I think they have a system in place for storing that, as you said, on a secure cloud, or we hope they do. And the magnitude of information suggests that that's the case. We don't know what was on those laptops. Again, I think we need an indication from the side of the Zondo Commission what kind of vulnerability has been created. It's important for the judge to communicate this very clearly, and I think that is the message that we are certainly sending from the side of civil society, is that it's not only a question of taking us into the judge's confidence, but it's the judge ensuring that the public is fully aware what is happening in this important function of public service right now, and what's being done to prevent this from reoccurring.
The Deputy Chief Justice says that these seem to be acts of intimidation towards himself as well as the Commission. Could it be that this is just another crime situation, or could there be more to this?
I think when one is dealing with sensitive information, I think that it is correct that one immediately one does consider the fact that this might just be a property crime, but that it could very well have a much more sinister motive. And I would certainly suggest that here the likelihood of a sinister motive is real. If you're going to break into, and I've been in the building previously when we went to hand in a submission we made to the Zondo Commission, and so been there in broad daylight. And I can assure you that there's relatively good security in the building, or that was my experience at least. And it would suggest that whoever went in also did this as a targeted operation. One would assume they could have taken a range of other equipment. To only steal laptops, and only those 2 laptops, would suggest that either they're sending a message to the Commission to say, we are watching you, and we're telling you that we can get in if we need to, and that's often the way that rogue intelligence operations operate, or intelligence operations linked to large corporations and corrupt politicians, or alternately it was a very particular piece of information that they knew was on those laptops that they wanted. So I definitely think this is an attempt to place pressure on the Commission, and again, this is precisely why it's crucial for us to understand what's being done to ensure this doesn't happen again.
Before we let you go, you as well as other civil organizations had made an approach to the Commission. You were not very happy with the number of people who were going to be interrogated at the particular State Capture Commissioner of Inquiry. What are your views as far as the efficacy of this process, with months left for it to actually wrap up?
Tommy, I think it's going to be very hard for the Commission to do the work it needs to do in the months remaining. And certainly I think from civil society, we wrote to the Commission on 2 instances in November and in October, November, and again in December, listing over 100 witnesses that need to be called, in particular approximately 20 large corporations that need to be called and held to account. We've heard important evidence from whistleblowers, from politicians, and from others in the last while. I think there are incredibly important pieces of information that are coming together around, for example, the looting at state organs like PRASA and others that have had a deep impact on people's daily lives. But what we need to hear from are those corporations and other powerful people that haven't been called, and we still haven't even had a response from Professor Musala and from Deputy Chief Justice Zondo as to when they're going to be calling those powerful actors. And quite frankly, I think that the response from the Commission, quite frankly, has been dismissive. Now, we are supportive of the Commission. We believe it plays a public function that must be supported. But equally, the Commission needs to take the public seriously and ensure that all powerful people are held to account. And we will continue to apply pressure in the positive sense in the Commission to say that you need to act without fear or favor, and that means that you need to call those powerful actors to account in the time that remains.
Mr. van Vurren, thank you very much for your time and your insight this afternoon. That's Hennie van Vurren, Director at Open Secrets.